Hello and very warm welcome to friends. I am Dr. Ruhi Lal, Associate Professor and Head, Amity School of Communication, Amity University, Noida. I shall be talking about the basic concepts and principles of advertising. The various subtopics of the subject I am going to discuss today with all of you, and the topic today for discussion is copywriting. So, copywriting is very important part of advertising. So, in this lecture we will be talking about the meaning of copywriting, the definition of copywriting, what are the objectives while writing the copy of an ad, how to do copywriting in the print media, how to do copywriting in electronic media, and what are the guidelines for writing creative copy of an advertisement. In this lecture we will further discuss about the visualization, the layout of an ad, copy elements and copywriting in detail. So, we will start with the lecture and we will start with the copywriting. Copywriting is the art of writing by rearranging words to make things sell better. It is not only the text form of salesmanship, but there is a lot more to it than that. We can define copywriting as it is strategically crafting and publishing targeted reader focused words which we normally call copy of an ad that get people to take some form of action. So, the advertising agency hire skilled professionals for their brand to create the copy of their advertisement for all the media, including the traditional to social media, because copywriting is such a task where the experts are required. So, advertising which is created, it has two major parts where creativity play a very important role. The two important part of advertisement is the art and the graphics of an advertisement. So, the copywriters, they need to a database to work on the product attributes and features to creatively communicate about it. So, creativity is generally defined in aesthetic terms characterized by heightened sensitivity to the beauty. So, it is ability to produce the useful ideas, imagination, originality, or the capacity to join two or more elements to produce something creative and new unity for a purpose. Copywriters, graphic designers are very individualistic person and highly sensitive in the advertising team. When they create a new artwork, they give their best expression to the innermost thought which may be based on his or her own perception. When creativity is referred to the context of advertising, it is purposive. The creative input by the copywriter aim to finding the solution to the marketing problem. So, now we will discuss about the elements of advertisement. So, elements of ad, that means all the parts which all make an ad. So, every advertisement has various elements through which people visualize the ad. So, each ad is made up of very parts, which part we call them elements, and these are described in the advertisement or remembered the advertisement. So, the process of putting creative element together by indefinite way is the part of creative strategy. How we are arranging all the elements in an ad, how the headline, subheadline, body copy, all these parts are putting together in the advertisement. So, when we are talking about the elements of an ad in a print advertisement, the elements of ad are the headline, the subheadline, the body copy, slogan, picture, brand element, illustration, trademark, product display, all these other elements of ad. When they combine all together, when they arrange all together creatively, then the creative piece of work will be ready. So, in writing copy of an ad, creativity is very important, and if we define creativity, so creativity is the feelings, sentiments and emotions of the advertising and branding, how a customer connect to an ad, how a customer get attracted towards the ad because of the creativity of the ad. So, creativity breaks the clutter by deviating the common existed rule. Creativity gives life to the message about product and services that may otherwise be uninteresting or irrelevant to connect to the hearts and minds of the target audience. So, creativity is a mental and social process involving the creation of new idea or concept or new association of the creative mind between existing idea or concepts. So, we can define creativity by other ways as well. We can define as creativity is fueled by the development of either conscious or unconscious insight. Creativity seems to be a component in each of the human being, marking their individual uniqueness of the character. Each mind in its own way can perform things, and improved quality can be called creativity as described by Adler in 1931. So, an alternative conception of creativeness is that it is simply the act of making something innovative and new, something out of the box, something very creative, make an effective advert. Creativity must be there, then only the audience will be attracted toward the ad, it will be able to grab the attention of the customer, and so creativity is very important in any advertisements. And advertisers often turn to advertising agency for the design and development of the campaign and adverts, which can lead to attention regarding the influence of the creativity. So, we can define creativity as creativity is a part of what makes one human. Creative work give one insight and enrich the lives of human being as described by Keith in 2006. The creative aspect of life which finds the clearest expression in art baffles all attempt at rational formulation. Any reaction to stimulus may be casually explained, but creative act, which is the absolute antithesis of mere reaction, will forever elude the human understanding as explained by psychoanalyst C.G. Jung. So, the other definition given by other researcher that I tell my creative people to use their talent and judgment to solve the problem, because if the advertising isn't uncommon and imaginative, no one will like it, only your mother, and even she will get bored in time. The reason people often say they think of things in the shower of isn't only time we allow our brain to relax and open up. Okay, the other definition given by other researchers is merely to let your imagination run riot, to dream unrelated dreams, to indulge in graphic acrobatics and verbal gymnastics is not being creative. The creative person has harnessed his imagination. He has disciplined it so that every thought, every idea, every word he puts down, every line he draws, every light and shadow in every photograph he takes make more vivid, more believable, more persuasive. The original theme or product advantage he has decided it must be conveyed. So, that is very true as defined by former chairman and CEO Doyle Dane. So, advertising is something where the idea must be expressed as he has explained in his definition. So, it was proposed originally by the Greeks that creative idea were gifted by God, specifically the Muses, 9 daughters of Jesus, each of whom was a charge of separate domain they played. This meant that not only did the ideas originated outside the normal thinking process, they actually originated outside the person. The person served as the messenger or conduit through which the ideas were presented from the God to the rest of us. So we all are creative if we use our creativity, and the person, they need to use his or her imagination. It is extraordinarily hard to define precisely how creativity works. Creativity is an art, and that is not the subject to specific rules. Creativity cannot simply be called into existence. Creativity often means proposing elegantly simple expression of complex issue. Truly creative people express their ideas that they are not just personal opinions but also expressions of essential truth. So creative expression is the direct link into the unconscious of every individual as described by Robertson in 1991. So the psychoanalytic origin of creativity has many resemblance with the ancient belief of divine madness, because they both emphasize on the passive role of the creator's mind, how creatively, imaginatively they are creating their work, rather than the life breathed from God. The creative inspirations arrive from the unconsciousness. The spiritual undertones of such ideas were made explicit by Carl Jung, who connected fluid notions of unconscious with various forms of early 20th century spiritualism. Various definition, theories, models of creativity, the various theories and the models which are based on the creativity to enhance the creative process. So different researchers have formulated different theories, different authors have given different models and theories of creativities. So in this lecture we will compile few very important theories of advertising creativity and the component of creativity which we will be discussing, and how different theories are connected with different aspects of advertisement. So creativity is a such motivated, dynamic and lively concept that there are many theories which only able to define creativity in one particular field or career at one specific point in time. That is creativity among engineers, creativity among artists. From a single perspective, each model of creativity needs to analyze among many perspectives. So if we will talk about the Wallace model of process of creativity, which was given in 1926, preparation, that is definition of issue, observation and study, that is the first step of creativity, and then comes the incubation, that is laying the issue aside for a time, and then comes the illumination, the moment when a new idea finally emerges. Next step is the verification, that is checking it out. Process of creativity. The model of creative process is attributed to Graham Walsh. So Walsh in 1926 proposed the creative thinking proceeds through 4 different phases as preparation, incubation, illumination and verification. As we discussed, that creativity takes place by 4 steps, and the creative thinking training program available today are based on the Walsh model of creative thinking. So they are also applying this theory in all the domain, the addiction of incubation followed by sudden illumination in the particular model may explain why many people interpret creative thinking as a subconscious mental process that cannot be directed. The first and last phase of the Walsh model, the idea of creative thinking, begins with focused preparation and ends with critical verification, suggests that creative and analytical thinking are complementary and not opposing to each other. So creative thinkers learn and evaluate, and they also train their perception mechanism to notice things that the other miss. That is the innovativeness of them. So how they are grasping things better than others because they are more creative. So creative thinkers verify, they judge, but they expect surprises. and they avoid judging prematurely. Rossman in his creativity model, which he gave in 1931. First step, observation of a need or difficulty. The second step of the model, discuss the analysis of the need creativity, and a survey of all available information, a formulation of all objective solution, the critical analysis of these solutions for their advantage and disadvantages, the birth of a new idea, the invention, and experimentation to test out the most promising solution and the selection and perfection of the final embodiment. So these are the steps which are described by Rossman in 1931 when he was doing his research. He studied the creative process via survey questionnaire. He did a research, quantitative analysis, survey questionnaire method, and complemented the study by 710 inventors and expanded was original 4-step to 7-step model. So previously it was given as a 4-step model, and then it was further expanded to 7-step model of Rossman creativity. So while Rossman still shrouds that birth of the new idea in mystery, his steps leading up to and following this moment of illumination that are clearly and analytically defined. So the creative problem solving model, which was given by Alex Osborne in 1940, is another very good model to understand creative problem solving process. So many researcher and author, they always consider this theory for understanding the problem solving model. So the theme of creative and analytical balance is carried over models proposed for the specific application. Creative problem solving, we call normally CPS, is a way of solving problem. How creatively we are coming up with the solution, how creatively we are solving the problem, we are identifying opportunities when conventional thinking has failed. It encourages you to find the fresh perspective and come up with innovative solution so that you can formulate a plan to overcome obstacles and reach your goal. So that is the purpose this model was presented. Osborne's 7-step model for creative thinking, which was given in 1953, is a similar concept where also we are focusing on developing the brainstorming session. So developer of brainstorming embraced a similar theory of balance between the analysis and imagination in his 7-step model. So in this model of creative thinking, which was given by Bandrowski in 1985, this model presents the creative strategic planning, which consists of again the analysis, creativity, judgment, planning, and action stages. Baron psychic creation model in 1988 given by Baron. All these models are related to conception of idea. So gestation is again the another step where how coordinated steps are taken, then parturition, that is suffering to be born, emergence to light, bringing up the baby, further period of the development. So these are the steps which are defined by different researchers when they have done a lot of research and they have defined these models of creativity. So the attitude of balance models support the popular view of creativity as a mysterious process involving subconscious thoughts beyond the control of the creator. So while some models give the impression that creativity is a somewhat enchanted process, the predominant models lean more forward to the theory that noble ideas emerge from the unconscious effort to balance analysis and imagination. So by analyzing all these theory, we came to a conclusion that creative mind is very important when we are analyzing, we are doing judgment, we are understanding things deeply, and then we are coming up with something very, very creative. Another contribution by Kaufman and praised in 2002 in creativity is again a very important concept and the theory everyone should consider. So, any idea may be novel or creative, for example, because it reiterates a known idea in a new way or moves a field forward along its current trajectory or moves a field forward in a new direction or lead to an integration of diverse trend in a field. So, certain forms of novelty seems to fit well the Western view of creativity, whereas other forms fit within the Eastern view. So, when we are talking about the systematic combination of techniques for directed creativity, the techniques for analysis continues as a strong themes in several more recently proposed models. So, we will talk about few more models here. So, we will talk about the Partners 1992 and Eskin and Treflinger's 1985 outlines 6 steps in the popular creativity problem solving process, which we call CPS model, and tens of thousands of people have learned the CPS model, that is creative problem solving model, and its associated tools through the seminars conducted by the Creative Education Foundation in Buffalo, New York. So, creativity is used as a tool for advertising, for measuring advertising effectiveness. So, it is very important in advertising. Advertising is one of the oldest and most used tool in influencing buyer. It is the most visible and most discussed form of mass communication as discussed by Kotler in 1990. Kotler considered that advertising as the paid form of non-personal presentation and promotion of idea, goods and services performed by identified sponsor. AMA, that is American Marketing Association, Kurz in 1995 defined it is at only one of the possible method of transmission business message regarding the product or service. So, here the most important part is the message. How we are communicating with the target audience, what message we are delivering to the target audience, and how we are writing the message. And here comes the creativity. So, Sisworth, he talked about the creativity as purposeful influence the market by the different tool. So, the advertisement is effective on 2 levels. The first level is with the consumer and the second level is with the advertisers, because we are designing ad for grabbing attention of the consumer and as well as the advertiser who is communicating their message, he must be satisfied with the message what actually they want to communicate to the target audience. So, the consumer watched an advertisement for entertainment search or for entertainment or out of society, the consumer will relate the advertisement as per their need and as an incentive for them. The consumer is ready to take the risk for the decision. So, advertising, it influences and message which is delivered the consumer, that is very important, how it is affecting the mindset of the consumer. So, consumer we view ads for their entertainment or out of curiosity, but somewhere it stick to the mind of the customer, and at the time of purchase decision when they will go to the market to buy a product, then it play an important role as it will stick to the mind, it will be top of the mind of the awareness of the consumer and consumer will take the purchase decision. So, the ultimate aim of advertising is to sell a product profitably, and creativity is playing a very important role here. Consumer view adverts, many find reinforcement for the product decision for purpose. The second level advertisements are effective on advertisers and because it is communicating the advertisers point of view, their uniqueness. So, advertiser has apprehension about the advert must gain consumer attention. Then only the consumer will get back to the brand, then only they will take the purchase decision. So, the adverts must hold attention for a longer time. The advertisement should be designed so creatively that it will be memorable and consumer will remember it for a longer time, and so at the time of purchase decision they will remember the brand name and they will buy a product. So it is playing very important role in consumer purchasing behavior. So in the model of creativity, the researchers, they have kept this in mind, and during the creative execution process they have defined it so clearly that advertisements to meet specific objectives, whatever is the purpose of ad, if it is brand building, image building or sale of a product or leadership position, whatever is the purpose, the advertisement must be targeted in such a way that it reaches to the target audience and it should reach its objective. The attributes which are described in the advertisement of a brand. So to communicate the right message to the right audience is most important concern of the advertiser as well as the agency who are designing the ad. So advertiser is concerned to appear the product in the media that will reach the audience most effectively. So the creative concept is the advertisement central idea, where the focus is there, how the ad is designed and what actually the advertiser want to communicate to the brand. So to make an advert effective, the advertiser focus on a few points. That is, the effective adverts need to be well executed. That means, as we discussed here, that there are various elements of an ad: the headline, subheadline, body copy, layout, picture, logo. Each should be arranged in such a way that it will be able to grab the attention. In any ads, the photos, printing, production value have been fine-tuned, and it is very important to execute. How the advertiser is delivering the message to the target audience, as what message is delivered to the target audience. So the intended effect of advertisements are important for evaluating effectiveness. These goals include not only the perception of the consumer but focused on the idea. What is the idea in the ad that will lead the ad to be attended to all, and it is remembered? That is most important, that consumer should remember it and it should work at the time of purchase. So learning is another aspect. Will the audience understand the message and make correct association? So again, here the role of the message, what message we are delivering to the target audience, and the target audience are understanding the message and they are remembering it. So the role of advertising, that advertising is most vital strength in marketing for the growth of the brand, for the marketing growth and revenue generation part. And so every brand is considering advertisement, either through print media, electronic media, outdoor media, social media, new media, cinema as a media. Everywhere you will find advertisement, because marketing is incomplete without advertising. Advertising is the promotional part of marketing, and advertising is well merged with customer analysis, which leads to the sales, promotion, price, internet and the target with different techniques and models. So there are various roles of advertising which are follows as in the marketing role to carry persuasive message to an actual potential customer. So what brands are doing? They are trying to understand their target audience, and then according to the customer they are designing the message in such a way that it is communicated rightly to the target audience. So in the communication role, advertising transmits market information to match buyers and sellers in the marketplace. The economic role played by the advertising that may make consumers less price sensitive. Advertising make help consumer better assess the value. Societal role as inform about new product, help consumers compare product, mirror fashion, influence taste. So we can understand that there are various roles which are played by the advertisement. It is playing economic role, it is playing social role. So advertising professionals call attention to modern advertising that it should be based on fundamental principles, and the principles are true legality, decency, social responsibility, and advertiser, when they are designing the message, they must keep in mind that it is important that idea used in the advertisement must have a creative character. So creativity has a large impact on the effectiveness of advertising. The ad is more effective when there is creativity. Consumer will like it, they will memorize it, and its effect is fulfilling one. One of the most main objective of advertising is to make it more effective, which is the ability to capture the intended recipient enough to be willing to purchase the product, because we all know that the ultimate aim of advertising is to sell a product. So if the ad is able to grab the consumer, or they able to convert the consumer to a user, buyer, then only the purpose will be served. And so target audience and down a potential customer is the initiative and not a simple process, because they, through creativity, they are trying to convert a non-user to user, ex-user to user again. So therefore creativity becomes the core of fruitful and effective advertising. Without creativity, consumer will not read the ad. They will not go to the next line, from headline to sub-headline. So creativity is a process which is related to advertising, including servicing of the client, media planning, brand building, and of course the creation of attractive advertising itself. So it is not unequivocally to creatively in advertising, the action was not only an end to in itself and precious artistic cry that unwillingly paid advertiser must fulfill a number of criteria. So for creating an ad, it is very important that you follow the guidelines, there are criteria, and advertising creativity is different from artistic creativity, especially in this purpose, because when we are doing professionally creativity, then we have to follow some guideline, we have to adhere to some regulations. So in advertising, when we are talking about creativity, then creativity in advertising is set out to achieve communication goals, which in the case of artistic creativity does not have to be filled, because that is creativity, imagination, that there is no boundary, there is no limitation in artistic creativity. But when we are talking about advertising creativity, that means the focus towards the communication goal, and it is purposeful because our purpose is to grab the attention of the consumer. So while in the case of advertising creativity, these properties are not sufficient, which are limited to artistic creativity. To meet creativity in advertising, its role, the recipient must remain registered and stored in the memory, and also must meet other specific objectives. So if not, then advertising creativity has not fulfilled its main purpose, because we are creating ad for a specific purpose. Every brand has a purpose to advertise, and that's why we are doing advertising. So creativity is becoming one of the conditions for the success of advertisement. So abundant studies have established a strong influence of creativity in advertising on cognitive, and effective change in behavior of the recipient in advertising. So these changes in the behavior can lead to the greater efficiency in advertising exposure. So creativity is an influence that can revive advertisement, and so every brand is considering it. In every ad you can see the brands are focusing on creativity. So the marketing principle have to be transformed into creating forms in order to attract the attention of the potential customer, because if customer will not pay attention in the ad, then there is no use of making ad. Generally, it can be said that advertising is creative if it is new and different from other. So that's why we call that innovativeness, newness in the ad is another form of creativity. The essence of the original idea is that it should be innovative and anyone else did not think like this before. Uncommon, original idea, that is all considered as creativity. Okay, so the solution combined with an unusual and memorable slogan should be one of the states for successful advertising. The idea contained in the advertisement must not only be original but must also include something that is relevant. It should communicate the idea, it should communicate the message to the target audience, it should be able to grab the attention of the customer, and it should go and stick to the top of the mind of the customer so that customer will go for a purchase, the brand will come in their mind and they will take the purchase decision. And so advertising is not the presentation of idea to the advertising agency but presentation of idea to the customer that pays for the advertising. So the mark of originality is the creative idea for any ad. And there is also another important character in advertising is the relevance. Relevance is very important. The relevance means that communication is significant for the receiver. It refers to the person's needs and interest. Relevance of advertising assumes enough empathy. Creativity in general does not occur just in advertising, but it is associated with the concepts such as creative thinking, problem solving, novelty, originality. The outcome of creativity should also meet the criteria of meaningfulness, usefulness, and the output should have some value. So creativity should not only meet the requirement of the originality, but it has to be goal oriented, because in advertising especially the purpose should be clear why we are advertising. It should have the ability to solve the problem of the consumer, to be meaningful. So that is all that we have for the today, and hope you have enjoyed the session. In today's session, we have discussed about the definitions of creativity, the objective of creativity, meaning of creativity, how creativity is used in the advertising campaign, what are the important aspects we should always keep in mind when we are creating an ad. We talked about various models of creativity, various definitions given by different researchers, different authors in creativity we have discussed today in this session. So soon we will be back with another episode of copywriting. We will discuss in detail about other important aspects of creativity. So thank you all of you for listening to the session. Take care. Have a good day. Namaskar.